From a young age, he had a deep passion for his work, volunteering at various animal sanctuaries even before finishing school. Throughout his career, he worked with a diverse range of animals, handling whatever challenges they presented. Whether it was a stray pet snake, a grumpy badger, or a feisty fox, he faced them all. His personality was perfectly suited for these situations, and he was humorously known for his clown-like antics during rescues. He would immerse himself in the characteristics of the animal, making them feel at ease. Some even joked that he was an animal whisperer, as the creatures seemed to listen attentively to him, understanding that he was there to assist them. This ability had helped him out of many tricky situations and proved invaluable when he was called to aid a squirrel that had broken its leg in someone's yard. Upon arrival, he discovered not just one squirrel but a whole family gathered to protect their injured kin. Simon recognized the urgency of helping the injured squirrel, yet he faced the challenge of navigating around the protective swarm of its relatives. Employing his charm, he patiently worked to calm the defensive family. With a slow and steady approach, he gradually gained their trust, understanding that this was essential to reaching the injured creature. After about half an hour, Simon succeeded in winning over the squirrel's trust. With their cooperation, he swiftly moved to assist the injured squirrel, surprising his colleagues with his ability to handle such a tense situation peacefully. The injured squirrel was transported to a rehabilitation center for medical attention before being released back into its familiar yard. The once anxious family of squirrels now rejoiced at their friend's return, joined by the volunteers from the Wildlife Center. This scenario was typical of Simon's rescues, reflecting his expectation for future operations. However, one day, during a seemingly ordinary spring day, he was called out to a situation that defied his usual experiences. During the Wildlife Aid Center's busiest season, which coincided with the birth of many new offspring, the team often received numerous calls due to the area's urbanization. It was common to be called to assist young animals in precarious situations. Simon had just finished helping a trapped doe and was returning to the center when he received another call. This time, it was about a young duck or goose stuck in a boundary fence, a situation requiring urgent attention due to the potential for serious limb damage. Despite heavy rain and busy roads slowing them down, Simon and his partner eventually reached the reported location. As Simon stepped out of the car, he was taken aback by the sight of a long boundary fence running alongside the canal. The initial call had only mentioned an animal trapped in the fence, without specifying the extent of the fencing. To save time, Simon and his partner decided to split up and search in opposite directions along the boundary fence. They needed to locate the trapped baby bird quickly to assist it effectively. Fortunately, Simon was the one who found the bird after just 5 minutes of searching. He noticed some movement nearby and rushed to the spot, discovering a baby swan entangled awkwardly in the fencing. It had twisted itself tightly while trying to escape, a common occurrence that Simon had been trained to handle. Simon knew he had to immobilize the cygnet to prevent further injury. He called his partner to bring the necessary tools from the van and then knelt down with his back to the canal, gently but firmly holding the bird in place within the fence. Despite bruising its wing badly, the cygnet didn't seem to have any serious injuries. Since the car was parked quite far away, Simon had to wait patiently, comforting the bird with soothing words while they waited for the tools to arrive. Initially alone with the baby swan, Simon began to feel a sense of being watched as minutes passed. He brushed off the feeling, assuming it was merely a curious passerby. However, he was soon proven very wrong. Events unfolded rapidly. Simon's partner suddenly shouted a warning, alerting him to something behind him. Simon spun around to face the unexpected presence of the baby swan's father. Before he could react or attempt to reassure the swan that he meant no harm to its offspring, the large bird launched a surprise attack. With Simon already on his knees, he was at a disadvantage as the swan aggressively pecked at his face and flapped its wings furiously. This unexpected burst of aggression caught Simon off guard, and he instinctively tried to shield himself from the bird's attacks. Despite his partner rushing to help, the swan's protective instincts gave it a surge of strength, making it difficult for the rescuers to fend it off without causing harm. Eventually, through careful maneuvering, they managed to calm the swan and keep it at a safe distance, allowing Simon to focus on freeing the baby swan from the fence. Despite being exhausted, the little swan hardly resisted as Simon quickly cut it free from the fencing. Upon closer inspection, Simon was relieved to find that the baby swan was unharmed. He carefully released it to its waiting father, ensuring they had plenty of space. The father swan swiftly rushed to its offspring's side, shielding it protectively with its wide wings. After checking on its baby, the swan looked up at Simon, though whether it was a warning or a gesture of gratitude, Simon couldn't be certain. All Simon knew was that he would have a newfound respect for the bond between swans. He hoped he would never again have to endure such an aggressive encounter while trying to help. Reflecting on the experience, he considered that perhaps he simply needed to refine his approach when dealing with swans, relying more on his charm and understanding of their behavior.